What? All right. Let's see here. We good? My life. You can hear me? Thumbs up. Sick. All right. Well, like Kevin was saying, we're just mixing up an active greens here. It's like the perfect thing to toast to everybody while we're all together here. 8 p.m. every single week. 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the hour, 1 minute, 2 minutes after the hour, every single week, and hoping that we can bring you content, value, and perspective every single week that can help you not only do the nuts and bolts of what are needed to be done to grow your business, but to help you scale your mindset so that you can allow higher levels of abundance into your lifestyle. You can allow higher levels of leverage into your lifestyle, and you can allow higher levels of experience into your lifestyle, because that's really what it all is all about. You know, if you're around Kevin and I for any period of time, you know, you might catch us rapping, you might catch us getting hype about training legs, you might catch us getting hype about buying assets or building groups or any number of different things, and especially riding powder snow. But the number one thing that I think that we like to talk about all the time is possibility. We like to talk about possibility because, you know, this world is literally our playground. We live in arguably the most expansive time in the history of the world. There's more opportunity and opportunities to do amazing things that are available to us than ever before, right? Because we've never had the ability to share information at the speed that we can share it now. So not only do you go around your local town or around your local environment and you see things that are appealing to you, you see experiences, or you see maybe material possessions that you want to acquire, or maybe assets, or maybe, contributions that you want to give, but you also can get on your phone and you can see these things in real time in not only your state, but in your country, and then on your continents, and then all around the world. And so not only that, but now with the ability to communicate and with the ability to generate income from your phone, as opposed to a tethered income, which is what most generations of most, lineages have experienced up until really the last 10 years. The world is literally our oyster. We can do anything that we want anywhere in the world. I had an interesting conversation this week with a friend of mine who is a multiple six-figure professional in a home-based business. And we hadn't talked in a number of years. And he mentioned that he had lived in Arizona for a year and he had lived in Texas for a couple of years. And then he was back here in Utah after a number of years. And I was thinking about the nature of that conversation was so nonchalant. And it was like, yeah, we went down there because, we just want to experience this. And then we went over there because we want to experience that. And then we're back over here because we like it over here. And I was thinking about that 99% of people never get the opportunity to experience life that way. Like, most people don't have just the cash to make a move, right? It's like sometimes you're gonna have to pay first and last month's rent, a security deposit, and on top of that, the actual moving fees, not to mention that moving is a pain in the butt, but let's take that out of the equation. And so that usually for most people takes a significant amount of income, and it takes a significant amount of time away from their traditional business or their traditional job. And when you basically have a income stream that is built, that is, hitting every single 15th of the month, regardless of where you are, as long as you can basically make an ACH transfer to a banking institution, you can get your hands on your income. It completely changes the way that you see the world. And suddenly, if you feel stuck, or if you feel like limited, for example, or if you feel like you can't really reach for what it is that you really want to do, or you think that I'm over here doing this because it's pretty good, but I'd really like to be doing this over there. This may not be the only way to get it, but it is certainly a vehicle that can help you get it, and in a pretty astounding way. So I always like to think about that because, again, we love to talk about possibility. And if you hang out with Kevin and I for any number of minutes, you will also probably take away the idea that we are pretty interested in money. But really, if you ask me, money is freedom. Money is fun tickets. Money is a tool that can be used to do more of what you already want to do, right? It's like, if you like to play, you can play more with more money. If you like to invest, you can invest more with more money. If you like to eat, you can eat more with more money. If you like to train and travel and contribute, you can do all those things with more money. So it's not so much that we're so excited about that, but it's that we're excited about the possibility that it brings. And what an amazing way to get in an environment where you can be around people that have that mindset as well. It's been said before that the sum of your income is the sum of the 5 people that you're around. It's been said before that the sum of your physique is the sum of the 5 people that you're around the most. It's been said if you're around 5 negative people, you will probably be the 6th, right? And so one of the challenges that many people have is, how do you find people that want to live a little bit different? The truth is if you look at where we are as a society today, the chances are of somebody getting to their elder years and being healthy, financially independent, in good shape, and in a good relationship is very low. And nobody sets out to, shoot at low standards. The challenge is that we are around many other people that wind up falling into the same pitfalls, basically acting out of emotion and not out of strategy, right? And so the best way to level that up, I am absolutely susceptible to who I am around. The more I'm around my friends that are top tier athletes, the more athletic that I am. The more I'm around people that are doing high producing business activities, the more production happens in my businesses. And the more that I'm around positive people, the more that I tend to have an optimistic attitude versus negativity, right? And so this is a very quick way to get around a group of people that are having conversations that many other groups are just simply not having. So what does that have to do with what I'm going to talk about tonight? We're going to hit 2 major topics. The first major topic is we're going to hit on a couple of nuts and bolts so that you can be extra clear. That is really the main topic of the whole call tonight, is clarity, because clarity creates consistency, and consistency creates currency. Okay. And the deal is that it is not that this is so difficult. It is not that people don't know what to do. It is not that it doesn't work. It is simply that most people never achieve a point of clarity. And that's for a number of different reasons. But hopefully some of the things that we can say tonight are going to help you in building your mindset around being a little bit more clear. So a long time ago, let me get a little active greens here. I'm parched. A long time ago. So if you've been with us before, or this is the first time, I've been in and around a business like this for the last 15 years. Have had some successes, have had some failures, like everybody. It is certainly not a straight shot to the top, but in that time, I've had the opportunity to counsel at a personal level with many different people who are trying to achieve many different sizes of accomplishments. That can be sizes of accomplishments of trying to pay off their first property. That can be sizes of accomplishment of trying to just simply pay off their car payment this month, right? It could be any of those different things, but there is something that everybody who is coming up short has in common. And the number one thing that they have in common is that they are simply failing to meet the objectives of the compensation plan. And so why do I say that? Because sometimes it can be so psychological. You can think, okay, my confidence isn't great. And you can think, oh, my delivery isn't great. And you can think all these different things. But what I learned a long time ago is that the person who is very clear on meeting the objectives of the compensation plan, it does not matter if they are the best speaker in the room. It does not matter if they're the best educated. It does not matter if they have the most reach. Doesn't matter. All of it doesn't matter. If they get simply focused on meeting the objectives of the compensation plan, you can take the blind on fire, set them loose. I'm not condoning any illicit activities, but set them loose and they will likely go much farther, if not meet those objectives, than the person who is highly analytical, highly doubtful, highly, trying to figure out every nut and bolt of the entire business. And so if you take one thing away from this, it's getting completely clear about what the objectives of the compensation plan are. So the first question that I would have is that, and I challenge you to do this, if you're walking out of this Zoom tonight, is that go at some point this week, if this is a business that you're taking seriously enough that you're hoping that something will happen positively from it in your life beyond just getting a world-class nutritional product that you're taking every single day at a world-class price. Okay, that's one of the objectives of the compensation plan. We have a world-class nutritional product at a world-class price. But if you're hoping for something to happen for you in this, I challenge you at some point this week to do this, is that to take your camera, to put it on record, set it on selfie, put it on the dash of your car, put it on the mantle in your house, put it on the counter. And in a short 2 to 3 minute video, I want you to explain the overview of what the opportunity of AAO is. You don't have to share it with anybody, but just share it back with yourself. Because the thing that I always think about is that what if somebody showed up tomorrow, fell out of the sky, right? Maybe you hit them by accident. They were jaywalking in traffic and they were like, oh gosh, I can't believe it. Now I'm not going to be able to work. If only an opportunity would fall from the heavens and I could build an income from home that would keep on paying me month after month and year after year. And maybe it would get bigger 100%, 200% every year for the next 5 years. And you're like, what would you say? Right. And if you understand meeting the compensation plan objectives, then in that presentation, what I'll ask you is, how much does the company pay for gathering a customer? If you are brand new in the business, what is the highest paying activity that you can take? If you answered gathering a new customer, you are correct. If you said that it is a 50% commission on whatever they buy, you are wrong. We pay more than that. And this is something absolutely that each and every one of us should be talking about, because it's ridiculous. And why is it ridiculous? Well, if you have spent any time in the land of marketing or in the land of the sales business, you have probably heard the idea of a customer acquisition cost. It actually costs money to get new customers. It doesn't matter whether you're running ads. It doesn't matter whether you're paying salespeople. It doesn't matter whether you are, campaigning. It doesn't matter if you have sales reps that are putting these in retail shops. But it costs money to get a product to move off of the store shelf, right? So what they did with AAO that is so remarkable is, not only did they say we're going to pay 50% retail dollars on every dollar spent for customers, but on the first order, as a customer acquisition cost to the company, we're going to give you a coupon code for 25% off. So you have something to sweeten the deal. You can share with somebody that wants to get something tried. They understand that in e-commerce, how often do we see something that says use EM25 to get $25 off of your first, or 25% off your first beard oil, right? You see that all the time. Now, they understand that if we give 25% off, then it's an extra incentive for somebody to try the product, to make their first order, to make their first purchase. But what they decided to do is they said, look, it costs them money to get customers no matter how we do it. Why don't we make this the most generous compensation model that exists? And so when we give somebody a first customer 25% off of an order, so it's going to be 25% off of $60. The order price is going to come out to $45. They are still going to pay $30 or $29.50 in commission. So they're still going to pay 50% of the original dollar amount of what that order was, which means that they are paying the field more than 50%, upwards of 70% for customer acquisition. That is incredible. There's nothing that screams louder, here is what we want you guys to do, then we're going to lose money every single time that you actually acquire a customer, because we believe that if we can get enough customers in the door, we want to reward you proportionately, and then we can make our money from the reorders, because we're not here to build a one-time business. We are not here to be in the business of making $30 a bag every time you sell it. We are in the business of building distribution for active greens. We want subscriptions. We want tens of thousands of subscriptions, so that people of all different interest levels, people of all different commitment levels, and people of all different visionary levels can achieve each of those things. Tens of thousands of subscriptions. So objective number one is to gather as many customers as possible. You could, and there's no limit. You can gather 100 a day if you want. You could gather more, right? Is to gather as many customers as you want to take full advantage of the fact that the company is going to pay you more than 50% on every single bag that you sell. Now, what we also know is that as people get on the product, helping them establish a subscription. So some people will establish their subscription when they sign up. Other people will not, but that does not mean that they're not interested in establishing a subscription. How many of you right now have bought supplements or consumables of some type from Amazon or some other type of company right now, and they say save 10% by subscribing, and then it says subscribe, renew once every 2 weeks, once every month, once every 2 months, once every 3 months. And it's like, even if you don't know what you're going to do with the product yet, you might set it at 2 months or whatever. So here's what the company is going to do. The company is going to pay you 50% on reorders. So it costs a company more money to get a customer in the door than it does to keep a customer in the door. It costs you more money to get a customer in the door than it does to keep a customer in the door. How does that look? Because it takes less time to form a relationship with a customer, right, that is already enjoying our product and excited about the benefits of it in their personal life. So providing good customer service. There are people in the company who have had many, many, many first orders and made okay income. There are people in the company who have had many, many first orders that they have nurtured and turned into subscriptions and have great, consistent residual income. Now, the third objective of the business. This is not only about selling greens yourself. This business employs what we call leverage. And leverage is the next objective in the compensation plan. Leverage is the ability to build something that is bigger than you. Leverage is the ability to grow something that is working while you're sleeping. Leverage is the ability to take advantage of multiple different economies, regardless of what is happening in your own. It doesn't matter what's happening in your economy, because you can have business in Asia, and you can have business in Central America and Latin America and Canada and Europe, and they can all be out there working and growing for themselves, and you can earn an override on it. Incredible amount of leverage. So which team is going to override more? The team that is really good at meeting the objectives of the compensation plan, or the team that is not as good as meeting the objectives of the compensation plan? It is not a trick question. The better team absolutely will be the one that wins. And so to create leverage is to now find 3 people who want to start a business with AAO the same way that you wanted to, and help them figure a strategy out for how they want to grow their customer pool first to become in profit. The very first thing to focus on, of course, is to become profitable. And I'm going to finish with this. If you join AAO in our organization for $89, what are you going to get? You're going to get 2 bags of product. That's 60 sticks of product. You're going to get enough product to drink 1 stick per day for yourself and share 1 stick per day for somebody else. You're also going to get test strips to be able to help test people's NO2 levels. There's so many benefits to this product, but that's something that puts you in business today. You are in business today, and to continue to be in business, you can either continue to fund your order of a bag for yourself and a bag to sample, or you can put yourself into profit. So if you spend $89, if you gather 3 new customers, you will get into profit. If you have 4 customers that commit to reordering on a monthly basis, you have a business that is profitable for as long as it takes for you to find the right 3 people to become associates with you, to grow their own customer base, and to continue the chain of leverage. The greatest part of this, and the reason that everybody should keep this in their back pocket, is because most businesses fail in the first 5 years simply because they run out of energetic capital or financial capital. They run out of money, or they run out of the ability to keep going emotionally. In this business, it's really hard to run out of money, because there's almost no business in the world that I know of, especially ones that can produce a 6-figure monthly income, that you can legitimately run for $100 a month. There's almost, that's what your web hosting fees cost in most businesses, right? So you can keep yourself in business forever. But the truth is that because it's so small, it's such a small commitment that most people don't take it very seriously. And the best thing that you can do is to help them meet that first objective in the compensation plan as soon as possible, so that they can get into profit, and the profit will carry them through the times where they maybe are not emotionally tapped in, tuned in, or turned on with the business. And that's really what I want everybody here to focus. So if I can leave you with this: you get paid more than 50% retail, you establish good customer relationships, you find the right 3 people, and then we're going to hear a little bit more about getting clear and being in flow from Kevin.
Oh man, that's so exactly the mode. It makes me want to ask the questions of why not this, and why not now, and why not you? I love those questions, because I always think, why not this? It's cheaper than what's in the stores. It's cheaper than AG1. It's cheaper than Organifi. It's better than our major competitors, and it tastes better, and it's cheaper, and you can generate residual income quite simply. And I think, why not now? Why not you? And I go all into the details. And I just started thinking, like, what if we change the energy and we zoom out? So yes, against all odds, you can get customers. What's so cool about customers is that you're getting that 50% retail. But if you get every customer to think, I don't want to pay for this, but I want to take it every day for the rest of my life, and you say, just get 3 customers with your username link, and then they send you the product free. And if that happens, those 3 customers are worth $10 a month to you, and to the person that got the customers, it's worth free product for them. That's a beautiful structure and strategy, because then you're getting 30 from that and 30 from that, and so on and so forth. But if I zoom out, I'd like to talk a little bit about alignment. And I want to simplify, kind of like, this business happens in your mind, in your inner conscious experience. It's all happening in here, and you're perceiving it out there. And so when you look at reality as a general whole, and you think, how does it work? Because there's a flow to all this. So like, here's the algorithm. You have thoughts, you have feelings, and you have beliefs. And there's like a hierarchy here. And on this side of the coin, you have like what, why, and how. And they all work together to make it go. So here's my analogy. All right. You're driving down the road, and you're going, and you see one of those triangles that's yellow and has a deer on it with a flashing light. And pause. If we pause in this exact moment, just a nanosecond, we unpause and pause again. So much takes place. And let's just zoom out of it and look at it. I'm driving down the road. The thought I think is, oh, dang, I'm going to total this car, and this deer is going everywhere. I don't want to kill a deer today. Oh, man. And my thought generates a cinematic brain phone in my mind's eye that is me crashing into a deer. That's what thought is doing. It's like cinematically making things in my inner mind. Feelings are the reaction I'm having to that picture in my mind and what's happening out there. The feelings I then have are panic, fight or flight, a little bit of fear, worry, I'm overthinking, anxious. And if we unpaused and paused, like we said before, in that nanosecond, we look at that moment, and we were going 5 over the speed limit before, and we were going and speeding, and we were driving, and our awareness, whatever, we're listening to music. And then you pause and unpause, and now you're going, your foot has motioned over towards the brake. Your awareness is tuned in. You've dumped chemicals. You're like in fight or flight. There's adrenaline pumping. Your heart is beating faster. More blood is flowing to places quicker. These things start to take place in a way where you are more tuned into your reality, and thought and feeling have that much of an effect on the outside that your car's slowed down. Your awareness has changed, and all the chemicals are different. Everything changed because of that one little moment. So you realize those things have such an effect on the outside. We need to harness all of those for our greatest benefit. But back to the analogy, beliefs will override thought and feeling always and forever. It's like an immutable law in that sense, where I'm like, oh, I believe I got to get home and make that carne asada, and then I got to go train legs there. And I see myself getting the carne asada in my mind's eye, and I see myself training legs, and I see the feeling of the legs. It's like the picture in my mind is so strong of what I'm doing later, that I know that the picture of me crashing into a deer that I hypothetically had as a possibility isn't a reality. And I don't choose that. That's not what it is. And so I just tune it out, and I keep driving my way. But if I believed that that was possible, I might find me a deer, and it would end up getting into a crash of sorts, if that makes sense. Thought, feeling, and belief, they work in our reality. Most people are not, the thoughts are overriding everything, and just kind of background noise. What if this? Well, what if that? What if this? Well, how this? Well, how that? There's all these thoughts playing in the background constantly. The feelings are all reacting to these hypothetical thoughts and situations as you're going into reality, and your beliefs are what are getting you through the day, getting you through the week, getting you through the month. Like, everything's going to be okay. Somehow it'll all work out. Everything happens for a reason. All these deep-rooted beliefs. And then you go to what, why, and how. And if you look at major society, if I asked every one of you watching this question, the question of what do you want? Like, wherever you stand in the timeline of your life right now, and you're zoomed out, you look at your life and say, what do I want? And if you get really clear with like that question alone of what do I want, honest with yourself, you'd get a nice list of things. It's like, you know what I want? I want to be a husband and a father longer. I want to go on the snow and have a great time. I want to be physically fit and feel good in my body. I want to have a residual income, a lot of assets that pay me. I want to blend into society and not try to stand out too much and just kind of be quiet about it all. And I want to trade a lot in the stock and the crypto markets and just build a nice home and live there till I die and be a grandfather and travel to places to show my family things. I'm clear on what I want. I know what that looks like for my life. That's what I want. Everyone always says what, why, and how. You ask people what they want. And I love asking that. Most people have no idea because they don't know what is possible. They've lost hope. Their beliefs are not there. And that goes back to that belief down here. So the what is the biggest question mark here. When you go to why, all the self-help in the world, when you're beating your head against a wall or you haven't figured out what it is and you're like, you look at the thought, feeling, and belief, you're like, my thoughts are inherently negative and I feel like the world's gonna end. It's like doom and gloom. Everything's so like not good. And then the feelings are heavy and sad and it's like a lot and that's the thing. And it's like my beliefs are like, dude, I'm not so sure. This is like most people. And then you go to like, what do you want? They're like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what's possible. You go to why. And they're like, when you get to the why aspect of things, it's like all of the problematic things you'd have in your life at that point, when you need to turn to someone because the thought and the feeling algorithm along with the beliefs have set up and you don't know what you want. So you're getting whatever shows up in life and you're just being rewarded with more of that. You find yourself looking in that paradigm and you're like, well, why? And all of the self-help books, all of the therapy, all of the counseling, all of that type of world always says to focus on the why. And they just ask a whole bunch of why questions that make you want to cry and try to access pain and hurt and negative things to ask more why related questions. And the why never really goes anywhere. It's just like a loop that's unnecessary. All the self-help books talk about why. But if I asked you, why do you want the residual income that comes through a business like this? Why do you want a bunch of assets? Why do you want the family thing? At the end of all those questions, it's like, fulfillment, contribution, meaning, happiness, gratitude, peace, joy, like good feelings. So you're like, I want to feel good. Okay, that's easy. The why doesn't need a bunch of energy and attention. It's kind of like the mechanics behind what you want. And so then the how. This is interesting. The focus of how, notice every one of you on this call, every one of you watching this, notice in your mind how many times you use the word how to phrase a question. And please, if the one thing you take away from the call on my part tonight is this, is that the how is not your job. And when you hear a how related question in your mind, change it to a what related question. Your mind will answer that immediately. But if you ask a how related question, for some reason, how will always elicit doubt in your experience. Well, how much? Well, my number is $100 million. That seems huge to a lot of people. When I say that, I see their face. $100 million will allow me to do what I've set out to do in this life. So I am on a pathway to that number. I know that with my whole heart. That sounds huge, but I do not know how that will happen. I just know that it will, because that's what I want. That is the number that it will take to have the apartment complexes that fund the, it's just the whole entire plan as I see it in my mind's eye. And so if you look at the how, if I ask a how question, well, how am I going to get to $100 million? I honestly have no answer. I have no answer. I come up with doubt. I can come up with a bunch of reasons of why it won't happen. If I said, well, how am I going to come to $1 million? I'm like, man, I only make this much. And that's a lot. And it's like, that's not that much compared to this. And then it just how talks you out of the thing. And so if you're like, well, I don't get it, Kevin, the how's not your job. Think about it for a second. Everything magic that ever happened in your life, everything cool that ever, like your spouse showing up in your world, like the good luck thing that happened, a friend that became your best friend, like all the moments in life that meant anything were never really up to you. Some people will say it's God. Some people will say it's luck. Some people will say it's the universe. Some people say it's just random synchronicity. Some people say it was you that did it. It just depends on what it is, but it's like, most of the big things are never up to us. It's a series of events that leads us on a timeline that makes certain things happen that ends up going to this thing that becomes this thing. It's always like that. It's always like that. And so it's like you look at the algorithm, people are focused on how, people don't know what, and people get confused and they ask why. They just cry a bunch and get nowhere. that's like the algorithm of most people. Most people, the thoughts are negative, the feelings are negative, the beliefs are just not there. So if we could program the whole thing for a good life, a meaningful life, a life that is like really, 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 really special, like just every day, it's like, well, what thoughts would I want to have in my inner experience that are making my brain phone throughout the day? I'm like, I'd honestly want to be thinking like thoughts of alignment, thoughts of gratitude, thoughts of the future, of what like my life is going to look like all these details of what I want, finding out more details, like what color would that car be, what year, what make, what model. You're like, I don't know, let me walk the path. You start window shopping for a Lamborghini you can't afford. You start window shopping for a multi-million-dollar place, and it changes your paradigm. All of a sudden you realize your dream house isn't $1 million. $1 million is some crappy old house that you gotta flip. And you start looking and you're like, oh, I think the house is going to cost at least 5 million. And you start realizing like, wow, to have what's in my mind's eye, if I allow myself to see it by doing the shopping online ahead of time, I get a crystal what of what I want. That's the only thing that's your job. The how is not your job. The what is your job. If you don't know what you want, well, you're going to get what shows up, and that's not what you want, because I bet you're thinking about what you don't want all the time, bet you're talking about what you don't want, bet you're feeling about what you don't want, and you're creating that over and over and over again with this really ridiculously powerful thing called the law of sympathetic resonance. So it's like, if I could pick anything on the thought category, it would be alignment. The feelings would be peace and joy, gratitude, just meaningful moments of connection throughout the day. And it's like my beliefs would need to be like, done is better than perfect. Something is better than nothing. Leave it better than I found it. Share greens with like 2 to 3 people a day, like post really great content about this to generate people, maybe start a new TikTok and get it going that way. It would be like all these things in terms of what would my beliefs be. It'd be like, you heard it earlier. My deepest belief is I don't know how we will get AAO to like us making these 6 and 7 figure month incomes. But I know that we will. I know that you can. I know that I can, through others and others and others, because together we're stronger than we are apart. And so these beliefs would be embedded in there, that it would work out for you, and that you deserve it, and that you can have it, and that you're worth it, and all of those things. And then on what? That's a beautiful series of questions of what do you want? Well, I would chunk it into 3. What experiences do you want to have before you leave this place? How do you want to give back to people? And like, what are you going to do to grow as a human? I'm going to grow in fitness. I'm going to grow in nutrition. I'm going to grow in music. I'm going to grow in sports, action sports. I'm going to grow in the snow. I know I'm going to grow in gardening, electromagnetism. I know the areas I want to grow in as a person. They mold to my life experience, yet each day will just be a little bit more than the day before, which it ain't sexy, but it's honest work. Share greens with a couple people. I don't care what the owners are doing. I don't care if we get a new website. I don't care if we have the same website. I don't care if the bag changes, if we get this video or that video or the other video. At the end of the day, it's something, and I guess I'll share it like this. I used to have a ritual where I one day woke up and I was like, ooh, I'm in my 30s and I feel everything in my body. And I thought, I got to figure out how this works so I can treat this good, so that in like 30 years from now, I'll be in great physical shape. So I started to research, and it took months and months and months. And my ritual was like this disgusting green protein shake with all these random powders that I bought online and at the health food store, and a huge handful of just gross supplements. And I drink water. I take this huge handful of pills. I would gag every time, literally every time. And then I would gag down this disgusting tasting protein shake. And I had sourced all the things. And my rituals, you just do that every day. And you check on the body, drink a gallon of water, have some collagen, some protein, some like, just that was it. And it was like, boom. That was the ritual. That was the routine. When active greens showed up in my life, the handful got to 2 different pills now. It simplified all the powders. I just take a protein shake with some spinach now because I need the protein. And then I take 2 pills and I drink my active every day. Like, simplified it, and I'm saving like $200 a month. That's incredibly simple. now, since I think it was week 34 on this call, 2 of my friends had their parents pass away from heart-related things, and I'd been to the funerals. Well, now it's 3. I've been to 3. It's only been a couple weeks. Another person that I'm close to's parents died, and yet another heart-related sort of issue. It's like everybody should be drinking our product every day for the rest of their life and testing their nitric oxide levels. Us sharing that message is very simple. They can ship it, they can get it, they pay commissions. Like, we don't really need anything else. It doesn't really matter. It's like, let's get a whole bunch of customers. Let's get a whole bunch of people that want to make some money. And then once it's like where we want it to be, maybe we'll go after some influencers. Maybe we'll go after some people that would be good at this business. Maybe we'll just do it now. But the universe doesn't reward when you're not clear. And it's like, what is this? Well, what do we get here for? It's like, this is to share greens, to sell greens, to make a sales organization grow. That's greens. How can you take this and align it? Getting an alignment is so simple. Watch your thoughts. If your thoughts are not good, go outside, put your feet in the grass, take a couple deep breaths and start over. Just remember that you're alive here right now. This is your moment. Everything else in the past is already gone, and everything ahead in the future is not guaranteed. This is what you have right now, and you're here. You see yourself, you look around, you feel what's breathing. You're like, okay, what do I want? That one little action right there is so powerful. What do I want? And it's like, honestly, what do I want? You're like, I want to send out 10 envelopes of greens. I have a lot of greens starting to store up at the house. I want to send out 10 envelopes of greens with 3 in there. There's 30 right there. I want to do that with a stamp and a test strip, and I'm going to send that out to some people. I want to post on my social media, see if anybody wants samples. I might direct message a couple of people, say, what's your address? I'm going to send you some product. I want to do that. I want more exposures for the business. What else do I want? It's like, I want to see this brand in more hands because it helps people. It's not just about the money, it's about the cause. And if you know what you want, like summing up what I've said, it's like your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs combined with what, how, and why are what determine reality. And the reality is like, we don't create anything. We're like a radio. Country music's in the air. Rap music's in the air. There's rock music, there's oldies, all this classical, all this different music in the air. When you make a decision, you alter the timeline of reality and a new station turns on. And just like that, new experiences, new events, new things take place and transpire to make it happen. And your power is the decision you make around that. It's the decision you make around what something means to you. And then it makes the picture in the brain phone that you're reacting to. Your reaction is your power. These are all little decisions that happen in your moment. So to me, in your inner experience now, right here, as you're watching this, I would like you to commit to yourself something. You take what Peyton said and about the compensation plan and learning the objectives of it. And it's like that mechanically is so powerful, but the inner you, I wrestle with if this is possible for me. I wrestle if I'm enough. I wrestle if I can. I wrestle with all these things, but at the end of it, the overriding dominant belief here that I have is that I don't know how it'll happen, but it will. And so I would end with something, or almost bring Peyton back. I'd end with this and just say, like, him and I were joking this week. There's every single multi-level marketing type story, every direct selling story, every story involving recruiting or overrides or anything to that matter, always kind of had that same theme running through it. It was never somebody you know that got in, that went crazy with this, and you got this insane override that lasted for years and years. It was always somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, and then that person got in and went crazy. And the magic of that is it kind of counts like you did it yourself. How is that not the ultimate leverage? So if you get lost in sharing this with customers, but you know deeply inside that whatever the what is going to happen, and maybe it'll happen through this pathway, and you get lost in the work, alignment starts to take place. And then people start to show up in your life, and it just starts to happen in a way that feels effortless. And it's like, wow, that was really magical. And I believe this can be really fun, and it could happen pretty quick. So it's a question of what you want to do, what you want out of this, and what you're willing to do. But I thank you for being a part of this. And I hope in your inner consciousness, the thing that changes and the hack of all of this is this. Every time you hear a how related question, treat it inside like the worst swear word. and replace the question with a what, because it would say, how could I get to $100 million? And I don't have an answer. What would have to happen for me to get to $100 million? And I'm like, well, I'd have to like create some company and probably sell it or take it public. I'd probably have to do some real estate stuff and get a couple big home run development deals. You're like, I'd have to create something or invent something. It could happen through the stock market or through some crypto magic win kind of thing, but probably through doing incremental stuff over time while acquiring assets and diversifying and trading and living like I didn't have very much. And then just like using the vehicles that were created to create that. And one day you'd wake up, just another day of walking the path, training your legs and doing what you do. And you'd wake up and you'd be like, wow, there's $100 million, because it was the journey. It wasn't the destination. It all happens in here and here. And so against all odds and active greens, this is so much more than just selling greens and getting customers. This is more than like some non-negotiables. This is about you as a soul here right now, getting to align with better people. This could be about you aligning to a higher timeline for yourself. Who says it has to be about greens? That's just what we're all collectively drinking and sharing. But this is so much more than that. So thank you for listening to this. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for being a part of this tonight. And we're going to go ahead and end the call. I appreciate you guys being on here tonight. Thank you.